What's up, everybody? It's April Dawn. I'm here to do my season 2 episode 6 underground review. This episode was called Minty. So they've been teasing this for a while. We knew that this episode was going to be all about Harriet Tubman. But I thought it was going to be like, like it would be about her. We would get some of her backstory. Maybe we would travel down memory lane, and learn about her history and whatnot. But no, this was a whole hour of Aisha Hines being Harriet Tubman. And when I tell you, it took me like 3 times to watch it just so I could absorb the greatness that I saw before my eyes. I mean, it was just like, y'all, put it like this. I'm a singer. I'm not an actress. I don't claim myself to be an actress, even though I've been in plays and, but I'm a singer by trade. But I love the theater. So for me, it wasn't hard to keep my attention span, or, I didn't cut off after 30 minutes. I could see how somebody would think it was too long, because it was a lot. You would have to really pay attention and focus. And to be honest with you, you would have to watch it more than once to really get everything that she was saying, okay? So I watched it like 3 times. I watched it yesterday a couple of times, and then I took the notes on it, okay? So let's go ahead and get to the story. So she pretty much does this in 4 different sections. The first section is about her childhood, when she was a little child. The next section she does is basically the run, or after she gets hit in the head with the iron weight, her after. So this is when she decides that she's going to run. Excuse me. The third section is speaking about when she was free and, actually running through the towns and fields and all of that stuff, and figure out, that story. And then the last section is basically the call to action, when she spoke about John Brown, so forth and so on. So I'm not going to go through every single detail, but I'm just going to talk about what spoke to me throughout different parts, y'all, because there's really not too many words that I can say that were better than the words that she said, okay? So it was excellent. But the first thing I want to say is, when she was getting ready to go speak to the people, they showed her getting dressed up in a corset. They showed the scars on her back. And I think that it was interesting to see Harriet Tubman in that light, because often we see her as this strong woman. It's only maybe 1 or 2 pictures of her that you've ever seen, and in those pictures she looked like a strong black woman, okay? Like, she doesn't look feminine. She doesn't look vulnerable, okay? I don't want to say feminine. She doesn't look vulnerable. She doesn't look soft in those pictures. So in that shot, we got to see like that Harriet Tubman was a woman. I mean, she was a woman. She is this iconic figure in history, but she was a woman. And like, you see her trying to get herself ready to present herself to these people to tell her story. So I just thought that was a nice, intimate shot of her. That was really nice. And just speaking about it before I get started, the cinematography, the camera angles that were shot, the props that she used, like, it was amazing. It was amazing. So there were some moments when I really thought she was Harriet. Like, she looked just like Harriet Tubman. It was a moment where she says, when I'm running, I feel danger near, it's the flutter in my heart. And she like leaned this way, and I promise to God, she looked just like Harriet Tubman. It was like Harriet Tubman had jumped in that lady body. Okay, so let's go ahead and get to this review. So she talks about the first thing she ever knew as a person is to be scared of white people, to be scared of white men. She saw that her sisters got dragged off before they were even old enough to walk. Her mother's grief. She knew that, black people lived a life of pain, so she felt like she grew up like a neglected weed. She said, she was ignorant of liberty. That was another thing she said. She didn't know what freedom was. So different things. She was a mischievous slave. She speaks about, different things she did, what was the one thing she did when she was a child? I can't remember, but she did something when she was a little kid, so she was always mischievous and doing different things. And she didn't know what liberty was. She said she's often heard about Uncle Tom. She's often heard Uncle Tom's Cabin read, and it did not depict the horrors of slavery, or the real horror of slavery. So we see from this that Harriet Tubman did not know how to read, and I looked it up, and she never learned how to read. So this woman did all this stuff and didn't even know how to read, Jesus. But they said that she would use it as a way to get around the catchers, because it was put out, you know, on a slave, you know, that she had up for her life, the what I'm calling it, what is it, y'all? A bounty. That's the bounty that she had on her life. So the bounty poster would say that she couldn't read, or, you know, the information was out there that she couldn't read. So she would hold the book and pretend like she was reading if she saw some different people, and they wouldn't pay her no attention because they thought that she couldn't read. So girl was smart, okay? If nothing else, the girl was smart. So yeah, her childhood, when she tells them, I know you came here to hear the story about, you know, the wild adventures and how this happened and that happened, but to understand, you know, my story, you have to understand what it's like to be in bondage. And that's when she talks about Uncle Tom's Cabin. And, you know, it doesn't depict the real horror of slavery. Slavery is hell. Anybody who could send slavery is just like sending somebody to hell, okay? So, she talks about bondage and how it attacks the senses. The whip, the sound of the whip makes you, you know, afraid. You know, the taste of blood in your mouth feels like your teeth are made of copper. You know, the blood in your mouth basically is what they're saying. So, you know, it was several different examples she used, but those are the ones I can remember. So she also talks about how her mother works in the big house. Her mom knew how to move, you know, and just, you know, flow through and pay attention to what's going on, and have secrets that, you know, maybe could help her in one way. And she knew that she didn't ever want to be in the house, but of course that's where she ended up working, in the house. And when she got to a certain age, the master cooks, he hired her out to a lady, hired her out to the mistress. I hired her out to another family to weave, but she could never learn how to weave. So the lady got frustrated with her, and finally they just put her out to go check the muskrat traps. And she said, you know, I know it's a horrible job. It was audible gasps in the room, so it must have been like a bad job. I don't know exactly what that is, but you know. So she liked the job though. She said she liked being out in nature, being under God's eye or something like that. So, but she got sick. And so her mother convinced the master to let her come back into the house so she can, you know, nurse her and take care of her, because she said a dead slave ain't worth nothing. So basically she's questioning, is this freedom? Is that freedom? Because my mama won that small victory. Is that freedom? She doesn't know what freedom is or how that feels, okay? So then she gets hired out to Miss Susan, and Miss Susan tells her to sweep and dust, but does not give her any instructions. And so every time she does it wrong, she gets hit with the rawhide. And when she slapped that thing like several times, she's giving you that image that it looks like I didn't need the flashback, because I don't want to see the flashback. From her slapping the thing, I know that she got whipped all the time. The lady never told her what she did wrong, but she just kept whipping her because she couldn't figure out, you know, what she did wrong. And then she talks about yeah, her husband, Miss Susan and her husband got in an argument one night, and she saw some sugar cubes on the table, and she said she took that sugar cube and she ran. She know the lady saw her, but she ran anyway, and she could taste the sugar in her mouth and how good it tasted, and you know, she felt like maybe that was freedom, you know. So she said she was ready to be a rebel. She also talks about the difference between knowing and believing. Knowing and believing that, you know, what I know, I can see past what I know and believe there's something else out there for me. Okay, and so then she tells the story of the weight. So we all know this story. She got hit in the head with a weight. I done heard it like 50 million different ways. I know you guys probably have too, but we're gonna go with this story. This is the one that she told. She said, I know you've heard 1,000 stories about, you know, why I always have the spells, the sleeping spells, or you know, I've heard different reasons, but I was really just fixing my hair. She said, I didn't want to go in the store because I was embarrassed about the way I looked. And another master was chasing a slave, one of his rebellious slaves, and he lifted up an iron weight, and she said, I don't remember anything after that. So she got hit in the head. So now that's the before, and now we're in the after. So after she gets hit in the head, she has visions. She says she begins to speak to prophets, and they're talking to her and telling her different things, that God got your back, he's gonna lead you, he's gonna guide you. She starts seeing magical lands and faraway places and flying like a bird. And you know, she knows now that she wants to be free. She knows that she wants to run. Okay, so what happens is she gets hired out to work like her father did, chopping down trees or being a tree. I don't know what he did with the trees, child, but it's something with the trees. So she gets hired out to work like her dad, and she even gets married to John Tubman. So she says she found a little bit of joy and happiness and freedom, you know, and being able to leave and work and whatnot. Even though we're saying work, guys, but you know, we all know that they didn't keep the money that they made working, right? They gave it to somebody, right, to the master. So you working for somebody else to take all your money, basically. So, but she said she got a little bit of freedom from that, but she always knew that she wanted to run again, okay? So she got sick again, and so she said that master, she heard around through the word, you know, that master was getting ready to sell her. So she said she always prayed for God to change this man's heart, to change him. So she said, I started praying a different prayer. If you're not gonna change him, then kill him dead so we can get up out of here, okay? And so, you know, she said, I feel bad. And a week later he died. She feels bad about it, but you know, it is what it is. Basically, you know, now she know that God is listening to her when she's praying. So she says, I'm leaving. So she said she know that when the master dies, everybody on the plantation gets all nervous and scared because people are scared they're gonna get sold away. So she says she know that the mistress is looking for a quick fix to settle debts, and she know that they was on deck to be sold anyway. So she like, you know, it's the best time to leave is during Christmas time, because nobody's going to bother you, you know, on Sunday, or leave on a Saturday night. In the best time, you know. So she said she talked her brothers into leaving. So she talked them into leaving, and they ran, but they didn't get a mile off the plantation before they was ready to turn back. She was so upset, she was so mad. She said she didn't want to go back, and they dragged her back. And she said at that moment, I knew that was the first mistake I made. I would never have convinced anybody to do anything again, because basically if you want to be free, it's gonna, you know, it's gonna burn within you. What she says is that fire has to stoke, you know, itself within you. You can't, the embers are not enough, and I can't stoke that fire for you. So you have to want to leave yourself, right? So she said that's the last time she ever convinced anybody to do it. Even though she kept on with her husband and with her life, she knew that she was gonna run again. So what she did was she made friends with somebody in the town that was an abolitionist, and they directed her to the first safe house. And she decided that she was gonna leave, and she ran. And she said, you know, that first step off the plantation, she was scared, but she made it. She didn't really describe the journey much, except for, you know, she went through the creeks and the pathways, and went through the houses, and made her way through Delaware, made her way through Maryland, or Maryland made her way through Delaware, and then she made it to Pennsylvania. She said she's so excited, she's so happy, everything is great, it's wonderful, but then she realizes that I don't know nobody here. Nobody is here to welcome me. I'm a stranger in a strange land. I don't have any family. All my family is in Maryland where I left them. So she decides then to make a home where she is. Okay, now she's focused because she has a goal. She says she has purpose, even though she's doing domestic work, the same type of work she was doing when she was a slave. But now she's getting paid for it, and you know, she has a purpose because she's going to go back and get her family. So she makes a couple of runs before she goes back down to try to get her husband. But she always played the middle, or she had a middleman working for her. So she decides that she can't have middleman anymore. She doesn't want to do that anymore. She has to do it herself. So she goes down to get her husband, only to find that her husband has taken up with another woman, living in the house with another woman in the same house. She wanted to go turn up. She wanted to act a fool, and I don't blame her. But she said, you know, fine, I thought about it, I prayed about it, and if he don't need me, he can do without me, then I can do without him. She said I saved 11 people that time. That was amazing. So she was married to nobody but the cause, right? And so she saved people, saved them. She's sitting up saving her whole family, okay? She done saved her mom. She done saved her father. You know, she saved her brothers. I think I might be lying on that part. And I think it was her sister-in-law, she said, that was being sold, that she saved that one of them first couple of times. But I'm not exactly sure. So she said she got her family and everything. But you know, she got what she wanted, but maybe it's not what she needed. So she says, now when I dream, I have different dreams. So now we moving into the John Brown section. I'm in the wilderness. There's rocks and trees all around, and behind the rock comes out this large serpent, and the serpent head is a white man. He have a long beard. And so she said, I don't understand what's going on, or what, you know, what's happening in the dream, but you know, I got a visit. She got a visit. Basically, she got a visit from John Brown, and they discussed how frustrating it is to have people who want to take action, but they're not doing anything because they're so busy arguing amongst themselves. So the ability, the inaction of the abolitionists. So they agreed on some different things. Now, when she said John Brown's name, there was some rumblings through the crowd because these group of abolitionists do not agree on the methods in which he uses to get his job done, which means running up in the house and killing up a whole bunch of people. He don't give a damn who it is, okay? And taking slaves. We taking them, okay? Because they're human people and you can't own people. Anyway, so some agree, some don't, and Liz was like, hey, we came here to hear Harriet, so y'all need to be quiet and we gonna listen to Harriet, okay? So it continues on from there. So she met with John Brown and, basically goes into, the slave owners. It's a conspiracy. He says it's a conspiracy, and it's perpetuated through the government. They strengthen it through government. They pass it on to their kids. It's this thing that you're trying to perpetuate. They're talking about white supremacy, people. I mean, it's just a decorated way to say white supremacy. Okay? So, basically, that's what she's saying. John Brown is saying, and he's ready to sacrifice his son because his son died somewhere, child, on the Potomac or something like that. I can't remember where he died, but his son died, and the only people ready to sacrifice their son is Jesus and Abraham, okay? So, she said, she was puzzled by him, but, she kind of joining the team, okay? So, yeah. And she just was saying this was struck me, and it's true. She was saying it's backwards as hell. They have ministers that are stealers, and then they have women whippers who are missionaries. Like, it's blasphemous. People cradle robbers who do this and that and the other, and rapists and and people who do this who go stand up in the church. Like, she's saying it's blasphemous. People using Christianity. That's another example, using Christianity to reinforce it or to justify it. And she was like, that's not my God, that's not my Christianity. You know what I'm saying? Like, no, that's not. No. And so the last part of it, now, what I want to say about this scene is the director is freaking amazing, okay? Because it starts way off in the rafters, as if you're in the balcony listening to this, and it slowly comes in. It's about an 8-minute scene. It comes down, and it ends up all the way in her face like this, and she's looking directly in the camera by the end of the show. So this is the call to action. Before the commercial break, she said she will die. She don't intend to die. She will die for the cause, okay? She will die for the cause. But I think it's probably like the same thing, but because if she intends to die, that means she wants to die for the cause. If she will die, that means she just will die. So maybe she don't want to die, but okay, there you go. She said she don't intend to die. That means she don't want to die, but she will die for the cause. She wants to live a long life, though. She wants to not live under the threat of death, but it's the duty of every martyr, every person that get themselves involved in this type of action. So she talks about John Brown's whispers of war. So now we're talking pre-Civil War, early war talk. Okay, she says that just like the acorn, her dad taught a lot of things that need to be broken apart and totally undone before new life can emerge. So she don't want to go there, but this is where they are. I mean, nothing is changing. They abolitionists, but they haven't changed anything. And so the last minute is straight to the camera, and she's speaking to me and you, and I felt it in my heart, like she was talking to me, y'all. Or like she was like, April, get up and go to a march or something. Go do something, girl. Go call your congressman. Do something, girl. And basically she said, we can't sit this one out. Beat back those who are trying to ruin everything good and right in this world in the name of making it great again. I said, you better shade for the guys, okay? You better come on and shade, because I'm here for the shade. So and basically you need to take up arms, and if you don't feel like it's enough for you to take up arms, and you need to figure out what way you can be a soldier and not a citizen. Okay, so that's the theme of the whole season, citizen or soldier. So you need to be a soldier and figure out what way can you contribute to the movement and be a soldier. And if you don't feel like that's important, you need to pray a different prayer. It's time for you to change your prayer. It's time for you to get up, get out, and do something. Okay? And do something, because we're not gonna let evil win. It's not gonna win. So like I said, I really don't have a lot to say about it other than it was amazing. And if you haven't watched it more than once, you should watch it more than once. You probably should watch it like 3 times, because it was amazing. Even down to her outfit, it mimicked a soldier's uniform. If you look at it, it looks like a Union soldier's uniform. Like, I was totally 100% here for it. She spoke about like her jealousy when she found out that her husband had remarried and taken up with another woman, and like how she was hurt. She spoke of, you know, how she was scared of white men at the beginning and how she must feel now. She cracked jokes. She spoke of how she alerted the people, how she got the name Moses, how she alerted the slaves that she was in the area and it was time to roll out. She's saying go down Moses or whatever. So that's how she got the name Moses, because she's leading her people to freedom, right? And so, you know, she had her gun. She was ready to pop off, because if you came, you wasn't finna go back, okay? And if you wasn't there, you was gonna get left. And how many people she had saved, and y'all, it was just amazing. It was an amazing episode. It's one that will maybe fly over some people's head. It's one that may be boring to some people. But if you have the attention span and the, you know, to watch it, yeah, watch it. Because watch it again and again. I feel like I don't teach history, I teach music, but I feel like I want to show this to my class for Black History Month. It wasn't anything in there that was like offensive, or you know, it wasn't any curse words or anything like that, you know, but it's something maybe like in a high school class. I teach elementary school. So in a high school class, maybe in history, Black History Month, this should definitely be required watching, okay? And I mean, Aisha Hines, girl, all the awards, girl, all the accolades, girl, all the feels, all the tears. Girl, I had cried like 3 times. Girl, you did that. Woo! Child, if y'all don't get no award, it's time. It's time for us to rise up. Now, we ain't gonna sit that one out. That's for sure. All right, y'all have a blessed Easter weekend or Resurrection Day, okay? And I will see you guys next week. I'm coming with Shots Fired. I just gotta watch it one more time to make sure I know what happened. Y'all be cool. Peace.